What's up, YouTube? Doing a deck profile for Prophecy today. Been really loving this deck so far. Got to play one tournament with it already. Went X2. Lost to Heroes because he drew every answer game 3. And then I lost to Dark Worlds because he Eradicator Epidemic me both games. So that was the only downside. But otherwise, the deck did really well. Has a lot of cool tricks for it, and most of the time people don't know what stuff does in it, so you get a few wins just off surprise factor. So that's probably why I'll be taking this deck to regionals this weekend, is just for the surprise factor, because I think they'll throw a lot of people off. So I'm going to go over the deck first and then go over a few of the cards in it. So 3 Priestess, 3 Temperance, 3 Spellbook Magician, Tsukuyomi, 2 Breaker, 2 Thunder King, Gores, 2 Tour Guide, Sangan, 2 Veilers, 3 Book of Secrets, 2 Life, 3 Power, 2 Wisdom, Dark Hole, Reborn, Storm, MST, Mind Control, 2 Warning, 1 Judgment, and 2 Torrentials. Extra deck is Escurideo, Shine, and Zero, Utopia, Maestroke, Tim Tempos, Zim Mains, and Leviathan. Hierophant and Big Eye. I know it's kind of hard to see the Hierophant, but, sorry for the lighting sucking. Gachi, Scrap, Stardust, Catastor, and Chimera Tech. For side is Super Poly, 2 Decree, 2 Needle Sealing, 2 Leeching, 2 Sidra, 2 Bottomless, 2 Shadow Imprisoning, and 2 MST. So anyway, some of the cards in the deck. You've got Priestess, which is your major boss. She's kind of like Dark Arm for spellbooks. Remove a spellbook from your hand or grave, pop a card on field. Really cool thing about her that I didn't know till recently, the reveal 3 spellbooks and special her is an ignition effect instead of a summoning condition. So she dodges stuff like Thunder Kings, Solemn Judgment, and other stuff like Black Horn of Heaven too, which is pretty cool. Temperance. Your main way to get to Priestess, kind of need 3 of her for now. Thing I really like that Konami did with her is, unlike most of those cards that have to be face up on the field when you activate something, and then you tribute it, like, I don't really know a good example, but with her, like if you play this during your turn and then you summon her, then you still get to use her effect, which is pretty cool, because most other cards don't do it like that. Magician's your searcher. He can get you any spellbook in the deck when he's normal or flipped. So he's a good first turn set. He makes Priestess a lot easier to summon because of all the extra spellbooks you'll be getting. So he's just an all-around really good card. Tsukuyomi, mainly to flip him back face down. Flip down Thunder Kings because Thunder King kind of hurts the search power of this deck. You can flip Priestess down and get over that whole once per turn thing. So Suku's really good in here. Breaker, being a spellcaster, he works with like all the spell books, so that's definitely a bonus. He's extra back row height, and with Spellbook of Power, he can get over pretty much anything that's popularly played right now. So Thunder King's just kind of too good right now not to play. You just got to be smart and not play it when you have like too many Book of Secrets in hand. So it's kind of like playing, like Thunder King does hurt this deck, but it's kind of like playing Gadgets with Triple Thunder King back in the day. You just have to play smart and play around it. Gores, because he's Gores. Tour Guide Engine, mainly to get to Sangan fast because you need to get Temperance early. That's why I don't play like an extra monster for her, because you don't really need to exceed that much with her. I mean, it's nice that the option's there whenever you do need to exceed, but for the most part you don't. You just need to get the Sangan within the first couple turns if you don't have a Temperance already. And then Veiler, because it's Veiler. Has the benefit of being a spellcaster though, so it also works, like you can remove it for Book of Life and stuff. You can also do a lot of interesting synchro plays just because of the Book of Life. So this is probably the only deck where synchroing with Veiler is a good idea. So, secrets. If you don't run 3 of these, you're bad because, either you're bad or you don't own 3. But this card is just way too good. Search for any of your spell books. This is the only thing where you can play Temperance and not -1 yourself to get her effect off. So that's the best reason to run 3, but also the deck thinning's nice. Only 2 Book of Life, because it's dead early game, and it'll usually take them a couple turns to kill off a spellcaster anyway to meet the requirements. Late game, you sometimes don't have a spellbook in hand to reveal, so it's a terrible top deck. But cool thing about this card, though, is unlike stuff like Premature Burial, once the monster's on field, if they MST this, then your monster doesn't die. It just loses the levels gained off of life. So that's pretty awesome. 3 power, gives it a monster plus 1,000, and then if they kill something by battle, it has a built-in Spellbook of Secrets. So that's always really good. Allows you to get over just any monster. It's like, oh, nope, dead. Wisdom, this is one of my favorites, actually. It's kind of like Forbidden Lance for spellcasters. But I'd say once Abyss Rising comes out and you can recycle it with the Spellbook Tower, you only need 2, but right now I think at least 2 is necessary. 3's a bit overkill though, but it's still a really good card in here. Those are kind of staple. I only play 1 MST because of several reasons, actually. Number 1, I needed to find room for mind control because there's just so many levels in the deck and so much stuff you can make in extra. 2, because there's not really that much back row you're afraid of. I mean, if they try to like bottomless or deprison you, you Book of Wisdom it. If they warning, then you just summon it back with Book of Life and they've wasted 2,000 life points, you know. There's not really too much back row to be afraid of. Plus you have like Breakers and Priestess to pop off all that stuff before you try to go in for game. The traps are kind of self-explanatory. I don't really think I need to go over those. Heroes for the Super Poly. This also has the benefit of, like, when I slap my extra deck down, they might get the impression that I'm playing Heroes, so, you know, playing some mind games before the game even starts is always fun. Like, back in the day when I played Reasoning Samurai, I'd put a Gladiator Beast Heraclinos on top. That was always fun. You don't really make 4 much, but those were the 2 best 4s. For 3s, I'd say you guys are probably wondering why there's no Leviair in here. But one of my friends is borrowing one, so I've just got to work with that. Hierophant, he's just good for the very rare mirror match to take their Priestess and exceed with it. But Big Eye's actually really live because of Geargiz, and you can take their Fortress and use it with Priestess to make Big Eye, then take another monster. You can make Gotchi Gotchi a lot too, because usually they don't always kill Magician. And then as soon as they don't, you'll draw another Magician for turn, and you're just like, wow, I can make Gotchi Gotchi. So, it's just more options. Plus, you can take stuff like Shine Balls or Ronin Toad to make it. Although that's a terrible waste of mind control, but still, it can be done. Scrap, Stardust, and Catastrophe are just the main synchros you can make. Everything else is just too hard to make and a waste of resources. So, and then Chimera Tech for the Sidrus, obviously. For heroes, anything with back row, Swarm decks, Agents, Geargiz, pretty much anything, Dark Worlds, and other more back row hate. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this deck, though. But it's one of those things that's only going to improve in the future as we get more support for it. It's still really good right now. It's just it needs a little bit of fine tuning, but for the most part, the deck is really good. Plus, these have the spellbooks have the benefit of working with any spellcaster. So you've just got so many different options to run with it. You don't have to run, you know, a Prophecy build. You can run a Dark Magician deck or a Fortune Lady deck or anything like that with the spellbooks in them. So that opens up a lot of versatility for the spellcaster